Gerry Anderson and Christopher Burr's Terrahawks, usually referred to simply as Terrahawks, is a 1980s British science fiction television series produced by Anderson Burr Pictures and created by the production team of Gerry Anderson and Christopher Burr. The show was Anderson's first in over a decade to utilize puppets for its characters, and also his last. Anderson's previous puppet-laden TV series included Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. Set in the year 2020, the series followed the adventures of the Terrahawks, a task force responsible for protecting Earth from invasion by a group of extraterrestrial androids and aliens led by Zelda. Like Anderson's previous puppet series, futuristic vehicles and technology featured prominently in each episode. Background: prior to Terrahawks and throughout the entirety of the 1960s, Anderson's series were noted for their use of his patented supermarionation technique, which made use of electronically augmented marionettes. In contrast, producers of Terrahawks made use of latex Muppet-style hand puppets to animate the characters, in a process Anderson dubbed supermacramation. This was partly dictated by the relatively low budget, but the absence of strings allowed for much smoother movement, and could be used to more easily produce the illusion of the puppets walking. The necessarily static puppets of previous series had been a source of frustration to Anderson during his supermarionation days. Premise: the series is set in the year 2020, after an alien force has destroyed NASA's Mars base and Earth is under threat. A small organization, the Terrahawks, is set up to defend the planet. From Hawknest, their secret base in South America, they develop sophisticated weapons to prepare for the battles to come. Terrahawks was less straight-faced than any of Anderson's previous series, featuring a wry, tongue-in-cheek humor as well as dramatic jeopardy. The ensemble cast, with each member assigned a vehicle, had many similarities with Anderson's Thunderbirds, whilst the alien invasion plot was reminiscent of Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons in the live-action UFO. The Terrahawks is an elite task force that protects Earth from alien invasion. Dr. Tiger Ninestein, Terrahawks pilot and the team's leader, so named as he is the 9th clone created by Dr. Gerard Stein. Somewhat bloodthirsty, his first reaction to alien contact is often to blast it out of the sky. In between alien attacks, he is often seen trying to beat the high score on his favorite video game. Ninestein's catchphrases are "expect the unexpected, I have a theory." And, when frustrated, he often cries, "Flaming thunderbolts." If he is killed, he can be replaced within 24 hours by another of the 9 clones. His nickname of Tiger comes from the myth of cats similarly having 9 lives. Tiger's voice was provided by Jeremy Hitchen, who claimed he provided that voice in somewhat of an imitation of Jack Nicholson. Captain Mary Falconer, Battlehawk's pilot. She acts as Ninestein's second-in-command, weighing his offensive tendencies with her own regard for the value of life. Whether in regards to one of Zelda's henchmen, or to the Zeroids. She was voiced by Denise Breyer. Breyer used her normal voice for the role, unlike many of her other famous roles where she normally tended to use a clucking tone more typical of the voice of the character Zelda from Terrahawks, whom Breyer also voiced. Captain Kate Kestrel, the pilot of the Hawkwing fighter aircraft and number 3 in Terrahawks' chain of command. Kate is also an internationally famous pop singer. Her record company is Anderson Records, a portmanteau of Anderson and Burr. She was voiced by Anne Rideler when speaking. Moya Griffiths provided her singing voice. Beth Chalmers will provide the voice of Kate in the audio productions, due to Rideler's death in 2011. Lieutenant Hawkeye, Hawkwing's gunner. Due to a track and field accident, his eyes have been replaced with microcomputers that enhance his targeting abilities. When given an order, he always replies aye as a pun on his name. He is number 4 in the Terrahawk chain of command. Hawkeye's voice was provided by Robbie Stevens. Lieutenant Hero, the commander of Spacehawk, Hero keeps a large collection of flowers to which he gives names and reads poetry. As number 5 in Terrahawk's chain of command, his thick Japanese accent is sometimes a source of humor. Like Ninestein, Hero was voiced by Jeremy Hitchen. Zeroids, spherical robots that perform ground operations and serve as the firepower for the Hawk. There are two leaders among the Zeroids who exhibit human-like capacity for thought and emotion, much to the mechanophobic Nina Stein's annoyance. Sergeant Major Zero commands the Zeroids stationed on Earth, while Space Sergeant 101 directs the Zeroids stationed aboard Hawk. Other Zeroids are given distinct personality traits of their own, such as the Zeroid Dix Hute, whose name is French for his number, 18, and who speaks French and has a handlebar moustache, and 55, who bobs up and down in rhyme. They can increase their mass, which allows them to perform devastating body crash maneuvers. This is often accompanied by a cry of street roll-on. Sergeant Major Zero, for his part, as he launched into action, often gave the war cry of Geronimo. Unlike the other cast members, Windsor Davis usually only voiced Sergeant Major Zero. Colonel Johnson, the head of WASA. Though he is ostensibly Terrahawks co-director, in reality, Nina Stein constantly overrides his authority. Jeremy Hitchen provided Colonel Johnson's voice, as well as those of Hero and Nina Stein. Terrahawks vehicles the Battlehawk, a heavy-duty carrier aircraft which transports the Zeroids, the Megazoid manned battler tank for heavy support, and other auxiliary equipment. The Battlehawk travels at Mach 5 and is hangared directly below the Hawknest mansion. The building opens out to allow the Battlehawk to launch and land. Captain Mary Falconer usually flies it. It's very similar to Thunderbird 2. The Terrahawk, a flying command center, capable of Mach 0.8, which can detach from the main body of the Battlehawk. This is Dr. Nina Stein's personal ship. It is aboard its cockpit that he usually plays his favorite video game. Equivalent to Thunderbird 1. The Hawkwing, a fighter aircraft with a separate overwing, which can be released to act as a flying impact bomb. The Hawkwing can fly at Mach 7.5 launches along a narrow tunnel, which leads under the ocean. A mechanically generated vortex pushes the water away from the tunnel exit, allowing the aircraft to leave. The aircraft can split into two independent fighters. The overwing is fitted with a massive particle accelerator cannon, whilst the smaller narrower main craft is fitted with laser lancers. Captain Kate Kestrel and Lieutenant Hawkeye are its joint pilots. The Tria Hawk, a single-stage to-orbit spaceship, which transports personnel, such as Lieutenant Hero, to the Hawk. The Tria Hawk flies at 3.6 million feet per second in space, and Mach 0.9 in an atmosphere. And it is so named because the exit to its launch pad is disguised as a tree, which opens out to allow the craft to leave. For re-entry and atmospheric flight, the Tria Hawk deploys lifting body wings, and can VTOL to land. It is armed with a small laser turret. Equivalent to Thunderbird 3. The Hawk, an orbital battle station, customarily manned by Lieutenant Hero, that provides the first line of defense against an attack. It can fly at 2.4 million feet per second, is armed with several batteries of Zeroids, and carries numerous auxiliary vessels including shuttles, tanks, and support machines. Similar to Thunderbird 5. Other vehicles Hudson, Dr. Nina Stein's personal motor car. Hudson is a heavily modified Rolls-Royce which possesses artificial intelligence, is capable of speeds of up to Mach 1 and is painted in a very special color, chameleon, effectively equipping him with active camouflage. Hudson refers to Kate as Madam, and is very loyal to her. Hudson also uses an assumed name and acts as Kate's manager. The Battler Tank, a large tank manned by two Megazoids who are apparently built into the structure of the vehicle. The Battler tank is capable of 60 km per hour and is transported aboard the Battlehawk and has a flip-up roll bar, which allows it to be quickly airlifted out of battle zones. The Overlander, an automated all-terrain vehicle similar to a rail-free train with multiple, articulated sections that brings supplies to Hawknest. Space Tank, a large, powerful vehicle the Terrahawks had built to use in their sneak attack on Zelda's home base. It is ostensibly based on the technology used in the Overlander supply vehicle. The Groundhawk, a ground vehicle used by the Terrahawks to investigate a bomb in Child's Play. As it only appears in this, and the Space Giant episode, very little is known about it. It resembles a construction vehicle and has a variety of sensor equipment. The Hawklet, carried by Spacer Hawk, it is basically a more maneuverable and better-armed version of Tria Hawk. MEV, used once in a raid against Zelda's android city on Mars. Possibly borrowed from Spectrum, since a craft of the same name was used to destroy the Mysteron city in Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. Big White 1, a combination space dreadnought aerospace-craft carrier that dwarfs even Spacer Hawk. Commanded by General Ripcord in a near-catastrophic attempt to obliterate Zelda with the thermonuclear missiles. The name comes from the Big Red One, a nickname for the 1st Infantry Division of the United States. Aliens, robots from the planet Gyke rebelled when their creators and masters deteriorated into a state of apathy. Zelda and company are modeled after the oldest and wisest citizens of their planet, explaining their gray hair and wrinkled skin. Zelda hopes to conquer Earth and make it a home for her family of androids and non-human beings. They need to consume only small amounts of silicate minerals a month to sustain their functions. Zelda. The main villain of the series, Zelda is the wicked and scheming would-be conqueror of Earth. She has power over matter, mainly used to teleport her servants to and from Earth and to manipulate the size of any of her ships or aliens. Zelda reclaims her own. Dr. Nina Stein frequently says whenever Zelda teleports a defeated minion back to the Mars base. She was created to be the bodyguard of the Prince of Gyke, but was programmed with ambition, leading to the revolt of her and the others. She is known for referring to humans as Earth scum, Earth pukes, and Earth wretches. She believes the humans are evil and that she is there to deliver the universe from their evil, destructive ways. Her voice was provided by Janice Breyer. Sea-Star, pronounced Seaster. Zelda's sister is not very bright, but is endlessly bubbly and optimistic. Frequently she gets so excited her hair slides around her head, leading Zelda to shout, in one episode, "One of these days I'm going to nail that to your skull." She gives birth to its star around the start of the 3rd season. Her catchphrase is, "I don't understand," and "wonderful." Her voice was provided by Ann Riedler. Youngstar. Zelda's son, Youngstar is, like his aunt, not very intelligent. He mistakes the term nincompoop for a compliment. However, he is also cowardly, lazy and greedy, although he is occasionally sent to accompany a monster. His catchphrase, uttered slowly in a revolting guttural voice, was "Great steaming lava." Strangely enough, despite being an android, Youngstar is partial to bowls of granite crunchies rocks in a slimy green goo. He consumes these frequently, leading Zelda to call him gluttonous since, as stated, the Gyke androids need only to consume small amounts of silicate minerals to sustain their functions. He was voiced by Robbie Stevens. Its star is also known as Goyb, or Bogoy, since Sea-Star never decided on what gender this construct would be. Its star is a baby android mothered by Sea-Star near the end of the series. Its star is a clearly schizophrenic hermaphrodite with 2 minds and voices, a young girl's voice when innocent, and a male voice with a German accent when plotting. His plotting personality is highly vicious and clever, compared to the childish, infant-like one. The female voice was done by Ann Riedler while the male voice was by Jeremy Hitchen. Cubes are the aliens' answer to the Zeroids. They can combine into large constructs such as guns and force field cubicles. Their different sides are marked differently, indicating their different functions, such as one serving as a gun. Sea-Star keeps one, Pluto, as a pet. Alien vehicles Zelda commands a fleet of large ships that combine into her headquarters on Mars, which are used for large-scale attacks. Most of the time, she sends her minions out in small warcraft called ZEAFs. It is not entirely clear who usually pilots the ZEAFs. In some episodes Youngstar or the monsters are shown to pilot them, but in most instances the pilots are simply never shown. Zelda's hub/mothership, Zelda's command ship, which hovers above the grounded city of satellite ships. It is capable of traveling anywhere throughout the universe. It moves through space with its legs fully extended, and with its belly forward. Docking ring, section that all 6 satellites, plus the mothership, connect to. It has 6 spidery legs which help dig in, when the entire fleet joins and becomes a city on the Martian surface. Satellite Ship No. 1, Finn-class cruiser, space destroyer capable of altering its size, and of generating an extremely powerful and visible force field. Satellite Ship No. 2, Dog-class cruiser, space destroyer with heavy power capacity. Satellite Ship No. 3, Shark-class cruiser, this space destroyer has the ability to become sub-aqua, with numerous smaller bays containing a number of ZESAWs. Satellite Ship No. 4, Rhino-class cruiser, space destroyer and transporter mainly used for traveling to Earth, where it lands and disgorges ground vehicles. Also carries a number of ZEAFs. Satellite Ship No. 5, Icebox-class cruiser, space destroyer used by Zelda as her laboratory and contains her cryogenic chamber. Satellite Ship No. 6, Phantom-class cruiser, metamorphic space destroyer. Can change into any craft or ridged structure. Zelda's monsters Zelda possesses a collection of monstrous servants, outcasts from various world or civilizations, who she keeps in cryogenic storage until needed. Sram is a reptilian beast with a devastating roar, capable of shattering mountains and destroying Hawkwing's shots before they can get close enough to hit him. His blood gives off fumes that are highly toxic to human beings. In his first appearance Sram is quite articulate, but he does not speak in any further appearances. Sram appears in Thunder Roar, Thunder Path, as Zelda's drummer and Play It Again. Sram, a member of Zelda's war party in First Strike, and an hallucination of him is seen in Mind Monster. The Spirilla is a savagely powerful beast that Zelda controls with a signaling device. After the device is destroyed, however, the Terrahawks find that the Spirilla is capable of halting speech and has no desire to fight them. Appears in the Spirilla. In Space Giant, another Spirilla appears. The Spirilla is a 7-foot-tall metal-eating space gorilla, covered in an off-white fur, a black gorilla face with horns and fangs. Moid, the Master of Infinite Disguise. He is a skeleton-like alien with almost non-existent facial features, and endowed with the capacity to assume the physical appearance of anyone. "I wear many faces, but have none of my own," he once said to describe himself. The Terrahawks seem to find him pitiable, and he seems to regret living a life of servitude to Zelda. Appears in Happy Mayday, Unseen Menace, and briefly in Play It Again, Sram as Mozart. He seems to have feelings for Kate Kestrel. A hallucination of him is seen in Mind Monster. Yuri is a teddy bear-like creature the aliens find hideous and frightening. He possesses the power to mentally control metal. Zelda sometimes refers to him as the furry Napoleon. He appears in The Ugliest Monster of All, Operation SAS, Terratomb, and as a member of Zelda's war party in First Strike. Lord Tempo. The Master of Time, Tempo can travel back and forth in time at will, and alter its flow locally. Lord Tempo appears in My Kingdom for Azef. Time Warp, and as a member of Zelda's war party in First Strike. Tamara the Space Samurai is a good and honorable alien with a powerful space cruiser, the Ishimo. He intervenes in the dispute between Zelda and the Terrahawks with the aim of resolving the dispute. He is duped by Zelda who plans to double-cross him in order to destroy the Terrahawks. He finds out in time when Zelda's plan fails. He appears in the episode Space Samurai. The Krell is a hairy creature with an eye stalk that can fire a laser beam powerful enough to shoot down objects in orbit. It appears only in the Midas Touch. Cyclops is a black and red crawling creature with one giant eye. The Cyclops absorbs metal. It appears only in Space Cyclops. Captain Goat is a space buccaneer who captained a pirate radio ship. He appears in Jolly Roger 1. Coldfinger is an alien who is an expert at weaponizing water and ice. His entire ship was made of ice. He only appears in Coldfinger. Title sequence and end credits. The opening and closing sequences were created using hand-drawn cel animation to imitate computer graphics. The opening titles began with a Defender-style computer game, which is interrupted by Nina Stein who declares an emergency. The remainder of the sequence features the key Terrahawks craft and their respective pilots. During the end credits, the Zeroid and Cube robots would often play noughts and crosses with each other, resulting in a different winner each week. The exception to this was the episode A Christmas Miracle, which featured the song I Believe in Christmas as sung by Kate Kestrel played over a still of a Zeroid. The original opening title sequence was used for both the United States and the UK versions of the series, but a different version of the end credits was produced for the US variant, featuring a Zeroid bouncing up and down next to one of Zelda's cubes as a Kate Kestrel song plays. At the conclusion of the credits, the Zeroid jumps off of the screen and crashes back down onto the cube. When the series was purchased for airing in Japan, the title and ending credits were augmented by an all-new anime-style sequence, the first highlighting the Terrahawks craft and the Zeroids, and the ending credits showcasing a lonesome space-suited female remembering her life on Earth as Spacehawk flies over her. The songs used in these sequences are Galactica Thrilling, and Teisetsu Now One Word, respectively, by the Lilies Naomi and Mayumi Tsubame. Production. The series' most prolific contributor, Tony Barrick, constantly used tongue-in-cheek aliases whenever he wrote a different episode, calling himself, for instance, Antiquestein, and Felix Katstein. The only episodes of the series not credited to pseudonyms ending in Stein are The Midas Touch, scripted by Trevor Lansdowne and Tony Barrick, the latter billed under his real name for the only time on the series, and the two-part opener Expect the Unexpected, written by Gerry Anderson. A fourth season would have developed the characters of Stu Dapples and Kate Kestrel further. This was explained in a documentary on the special features disc of the series, in the Gerry Anderson book Super Mario Nation, and the Terrahawks DVDs. Two of the scripts were called 101 Seed, written by Anderson himself, and Attempted Moida by Tony Barrick. In the UK, 6 specially prepared compilations of Terrahawks were released on video cassette, covering 24 out of 26 episodes from the first season. The first tape contained a few scenes in the premiere episode that had been edited out of the broadcast master due to time constraints. The final volume, entitled Zero Strikes Back, had a smaller print run than the rest of the tapes, and was quite a collector's item, with copies generally going for around £100 on eBay until the series began to be released on DVD. The series is available on DVD in the United Kingdom and North America. Unlike virtually all of Gerry Anderson's other puppet-based series, Terrahawks was not produced by ITC Entertainment. This meant that after Terrahawks repeats disappeared from UK airwaves in the late 1980s and the 6 compilation videotapes went out of production, the series was noticeably hard to find compared to Anderson's other series, most of which received a renaissance throughout the 1990s. Tie-ins, the CRL game of the series, released in 1984, was one of the first video games based on a TV show. Audio revival. It was announced on April 19, 2014 that Terrahawks will be returning as a run of full-cast audio dramas featuring original cast members. The new audio series are produced by Anderson Entertainment in association with Big Finish Productions. The first new series was released in April 2015, and consists of 8 episodes. Anne Riedler, who played Kate Kestrel and Sea Star, was replaced by Beth Chalmers, and Windsor Davies, who played Sergeant Major Zero, was replaced by Jeremy Hitchen. Zeroids vs. Cubes. On December 10, 2014, an animated spin-off web series was announced titled Zeroids vs. Cubes. It is being produced by IDEO Design and Animation and Anderson Entertainment and will come to YouTube in 2015. Both Jeremy Hitchen and Robbie Stevens will reprise their roles as the Sergeant Major Zero and Space Sergeant 101. Episodes. The first episode aired on June 19, 2015. References. External links. Terrahawks at the Gerry Anderson website, Terrahawks at the Internet Movie Database, Terrahawks at TV.com, the Terrahawks cyber pages, terrahawks.org.uk.